Hi, everybody. I know most of you have seen me at least once a month for the last 7 months. My name is Danielle. I'm the executive director of Side by Side. We bring you these Great Start sessions every month. Tonight actually marks our final Great Start session for this school year. We thought it was prudent to kind of combine the sessions since the material is the same at this point in the year. So tonight we have Dr. Harder and Ms. Garshell who are going to be talking with you about all those things that slip away in the summer when our children aren't in the classrooms. So they have lots of good things to share with you tonight, lots of good strategies, fun ideas, and then they're going to send you back to your tables to dive into some things in your bag and make some plans for the summer. So without further ado, here's our teachers.
All right, so we're going to start with a little icebreaker. What is one thing that you wish you had known before your child went into their current grade? Any? Go ahead.
How far behind you were from the online learning?
Okay.
That. Right there.
Yeah, that was definitely a big thing this year. Anything else about specifically like anybody that entered pre-K or kindergarten, like that the school experience you just wish you'd known?
Wish we'd known that the curriculum was actually geared more towards a kindergarten level in the pre-K class.
Okay.
Our kids are going to be feeling a little more advanced because of that. But
Mhm.
we also more prepared for the extra stress that's placed on them in high school.
Yep.
I know a lot of my pre-K parents or kindergarten parents before, they're like, I didn't realize how many sight words there are. How many things they need to know by the end, that they need to be reading and the comprehension piece, and by the end, it's like, this doesn't feel like kindergarten per se. By the end of it.
They're trying to read in pre-K in our pre-K class. And it's like, wow, I didn't know how to read till first grade. What did I miss?
Right. Where did we have this gap? So hopefully your experience this year has got some positives and some things we're going to take with us onto the next grade. And you can help other parents in the future. Like, hey, your kid's going to kindergarten next year, start working on this. But tonight we're going to help you with things to do over the summer. So that way we don't have this summer slide happening and we have a fun summer. And throw some academics in there to get those things that we missed while we were doing virtual learning, but also, keep growing throughout the summer. On your agenda tonight, Dr. Harder and I put a QR code. So all of the slides that are up here, you just scan the QR code and you can view them. So you don't have to take notes. But if you see something that you really like, feel free to jot it down. Because at the end, we're going to be creating a calendar of things that we're going to work on throughout the summer. So if there's something that's like, oh, this looks really fun, feel free to jot it down or take a picture, refer back to the slides. All right, so you hear this word summer slide. What is summer slide? It's not the playground. It's what happens when we take a break from school. We stopped going to the classroom. So we have a shorter summer this year because school gets out so late in June, and then we go back in August. So less time for that slide to occur, but it's what happens when they stop, they lose. They lose what they've been learning for the past, several months. The ones that were virtual, the ones that are in personal year, they start losing those things that they've learned because they're not doing it every day. That reading, they can lose 2 months of reading. So think about it. That's like right now we're in May, so everything they learned in May and June could be lost in the summer. So then in the fall, we go back. We start going back to those skills. But over the summer, if you spend your time reading once a day, once every other day, keep practicing those skills that they're on now, we can work on going forward instead of going backward. We spend about 6 weeks in the fall going over the things that were lost during the summer. Those sight words, the alphabet, writing your name, writing a sentence, the math facts, all of those things we have to go back and reteach. So imagine if we didn't have to go back and reteach. If we worked on those skills throughout the summer, now we can move forward. We can spend more time on that first grade curriculum. That's where I am. I'm first grade. Those first grade skills instead of going back to those kindergarten skills that were already taught. 2.5 months of math skills lost during the summer. 2 to 3 hours per week are needed to prevent summer learning. So you have 7 days in a week. It's like half an hour a day that you can dedicate just to those skills that we've worked on throughout the year, those sessions that you came to, put those games to use, any of those manipulatives. Make it fun, but don't make it, we're in summer school. We're not doing school all the time, just, bits and pieces here and there. All right, so how to beat that summer slide. So make it a goal. 20 minutes a day of reading. You need that downtime in the summer. We can't just go, because you need a break as parents, and they need a break just to calm down, take it easy, spend 20 minutes in the beanbag chair, spend 20 minutes in your room reading. Now, to some of them, reading could look different. It could be looking at the book, finding the sight words that they know. It could be looking at a book, on Epic Books where it reads it to them, because they're still getting reading. Even if they're not personally reading it on their own, they're still getting that reading. So look into those audiobooks. That way they can point to the words. They can look at the words as they're reading. Cooking. What kid doesn't love playing in the kitchen? Cooking can turn into math, can turn into reading, can turn into writing. Those simple projects you do in the kitchen help with preventing summer slides. So get them involved. Explore different kinds of reading material. Picture books, chapter books, magazines. Go to the library, check out some new stuff so that way it's fresh. It's not that I've already read this book. I've already done this. Make it a point. Maybe every Monday you go to the library and you check out a new book. So it's exciting. It's new. It's something to practice. Those audio books, those are great. Epic Books is a really good one for them to use because it has the pictures, it has the words, it points to the words, and then they have different levels on there. Read with your kids. Go outside. Go by the pool. Those breaks at the pool. Bring a book. Gives you something to do besides, hey, stop running on the deck. Review those skills. So anything, any of those books that come home from the teachers at the end of the year. I know my kids, our math books are pretty empty because we haven't used them. We do everything on the computer or in our journals. So the math books that come to you from the county, go back, revisit them. Hey, let's work on, 3 pages today and work on a skill. Meaningful conversations. That's a big one. Talk to them. Hey, what do you want to do? Hey, what's going on? If they go to summer camp during the day, what did you do during the day? What was your favorite part? That can turn into a writing or a drawing activity. Document it. And then start a new hobby. What's something they haven't tried? Maybe they want to learn how to fish. Maybe they want to learn how to play soccer. Maybe it's an arts and crafts project that they haven't done yet. Start some new things so it's exciting. It's not that typical routine, and it gets them excited about summer. All right, so we all know we do assessments. We have a big reading assessment coming up in kindergarten through 2nd grade, and that's going to measure how far they've grown throughout the year. So we've given this assessment back in October. We gave it in January, and now we're giving it again in May. So we're tracking how they've moved along, or maybe how they haven't moved along. But hopefully they've moved along at least a little bit. But in the fall, we're going to be giving them assessments again. We want their scores to keep going up or to at least stay where they were at the end of the year. 35 to 40% of reading scores go down by not reading during the summer. But if we keep going, we can move up. And that's what we want. We want them going into their next grade feeling confident. I read over the summer. I learned those sight words. I know what I'm doing. Especially when they come to kindergarten to 1st grade and they can point out those words like, I know that's a word that came from kindergarten. They get so excited. And then even, in second grade, when, I learned that word last year, they're already starting off with success. All right, so some ideas. These are some of the things that we're going to ask you to put on your calendar, some of your goals that you want to work on throughout the summer. Read every day. Even if it's, we're reading the street signs, we're reading the cereal box, we're, finding different types of things to read. We're going on an alphabet hunt. We're bringing all of that together. Journaling or writing. Please don't stop writing during the summer. It's a great opportunity for them to document what they've done. Because, when they go back to school in the fall, we're going to ask them, so what did you do over the summer? And they look at us. It was fun. What'd you do? Helps them go back and, refresh their memory because they did so much during the summer, they don't know where to start. The library. Going to the library is always fun. I remember as a kid, my mom would take me there all the time, and I would pick out all the books because I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Like, we don't have to pay for these. I can take them all home, and I have to keep track of them. But that was another thing. But it was always so much fun going there, picking out books. Writing letters. Your child's teacher has a school address. Write to them throughout the summer. Send them fan mail. Hey, how's it going? Now, they won't get it until they come back to school. But how awesome for us to come back to a mailbox filled with letters. And then their child already has a connection. They know who they're writing to. They know what the child's teacher likes. Send your teacher a letter. Educational programs, or even, just the summer camps in general. Gets them involved. Laurel Parks and Recreation or MNCPBC, they have all of their summer camps going on. Suggest looking into them because they do offer a variety of things. Keeps them active, keeps them involved. Your word games, your math games. So think about what we talked about before with using the sidewalk chalk, using the water balloons, using the water guns. Any of those kinds of things, throw it into the summer. And have fun with it. It's their summer, it's your summer. It doesn't have to be that, summer school. But some of those kids love playing school. I was the kid, I love playing school. My little sister, she ended up in the tag classes. I contributed to my success because I started teaching her at a young age what I was learning in school. But if they have younger siblings, hey, we're playing school today. And it's so cute because they do it at school too. And they're like, I'm the teacher. And I'm like, is that what I look like? Yeah, but play school. All right, so this is what we're going to be working on later, is creating a calendar. Now, you don't have to make all of these little details and everything. But, aim for a couple of activities a week. And there's things on here like make a bird feeder, make a flower, drive to the beach, have a picnic, sidewalk chalk, tic-tac-toe. So it doesn't have to be those, direct. It can be fun, engaging, and then, hang it up on the wall. Hold yourself accountable to doing these activities. Talk about it. Hey, this is our week's plan. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. Give them something to look forward to because, we're having popsicles, but we're going to make it ourselves. So they're going to look forward to that activity all week long to make them. And then you're talking about measuring, you're talking about writing, you're talking about, mixing colors, like all sorts of things that go into it. So we'll reference this. We'll put this back up again later. And then this will be my last one next. So you can do summer camp at home. If your kid is not going to summer camp, they're staying home with you. Think about when you're making your calendar having a theme for each week. So maybe the first week you're doing outer space themed. You're going to find a book that goes with outer space. You're going to draw the planets on the ground with the sight words in them, and we're going to throw water balloons because the aliens are invading them. We're going to have a special outer space pudding that we're going to make. Themes. Then it's different every week. It's something to look forward to. And think about what your kid is interested in. Maybe it's something they're not too familiar with. We started talking about long ago, like comparing today to long ago. Pretty sure my kids think I rode a horse to school. I told them I'm not that old. But then to school, and I said, no, they're not that old either. But then they asked if I used a chalkboard, and I said, well, I wrote on the chalkboard on the wall, but no, I had worksheets and, things like that. And they're looking at me, and they're like, but you're old. And I'm like, thanks, guys. So even learning about history, things from long ago, or even, long ago as your childhood, or, your parents can, throw in some of the themes here. They were definitely really interested in it. Dinosaurs was another big one in my classroom this year. Loved learning about the dinosaurs. But yeah, think about doing themes as you plan out your calendar. Yes, so on your agenda or your packet, there's a little QR code that says scan me on the bottom left corner. So when you scan it with your phone, all these slides will pop up.
That'll make it easy access for sure. So, another fun activity that you can do, this is called a readathon bingo. And it's essentially you're going to play bingo. But on the inside, you can, I've seen it done both ways, where the different squares can do different types of books. Maybe you did this one and you're going to read a book about animals, or this one's going to be about dinosaurs. You can also, I like this one, reading in different locations. They had it reading on the stairs, on the couch, in the kitchen, read to your pet. So they had different locations where they were able to get comfortable and read at. And it kind of throws them for a loop. Maybe they're so used to reading in bed or reading on the couch, and then this bingo says, all right, you're going to go sit on the kitchen floor and read. What? That's not what I do here.
The bathtub?
The bath, I'm going to read in the shower? What if my book gets wet? We're not going to turn the water on. But you could. Or I like the one when you read to the pet, because they like that part. So that's another activity you can choose. Perfect. And then the summer friend journal. It's the same kind of concept of what you're doing over the summer. You're kind of documenting what you're doing. So you're going to use a journal, and you're going to record the adventures with their summer friend. All right. Will your child's summer friend help them make lunch? Will they go on a walk outside? Maybe you're going to go to different types of outings, or maybe you're going to stay home. Maybe go to the beach, go see grandma. Maybe you stay home this week. You're going to take pictures of your child and their summer friend and glue them in their journal. This goes right along, I think you did it with the stuffed animal, where each kid kind of took a stuffed animal around.
Pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
We haven't started it back.
But it was really cute because I got the chance to take their class stuffed animal, and we went on an adventure for the weekend. And so I took pictures of the stuffed animal and my cat, and then we were in the car, and then we got to go read, and I took the pictures and I printed them out, and we glued them in the journal. We kind of made captions that kind of covered what that picture was. So then they can kind of go back and read. It's like a memory book. They can see it, and then they can go back and read it to their teacher when they come back in the fall. But I liked it because then they could go and you can see all the other kids with the stuffed animals, so that was kind of fun. But this makes it kind of interesting to get them to go, get up and do stuff, and then kind of write about it. So maybe you have to, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to take your pictures and do all this fun stuff, and then we're going to write about it.
And then it could be like a stuffy, or it could be like Flat Stanley, where you have just,
A little piece of
print out,
paper.
right, of
Or a
something.
stick figure. It doesn't
So-
have to be something fancy. And then, so practicing the sight words, you can turn and manipulate these in many different ways. You can get some cups. Red Solo cups work really well because they're plastic. And you could write the sight words on the cups, and then using your water gun or a water balloon or whatever source that you want, maybe just a hose. Doesn't really have to be one of those fancy things. And they're trying to knock down the sight words that they can read. And then you can build it back up and read the sight words again. You can switch them out. And they're kind of practicing. They're still kind of playing. It's still a game. I don't know what the tool is called in the middle, or if it's just the garden hose.
It's like a water gun, but it kind of is shaped like a pencil. It's like one of those really long ones, and it has just at the end.
That's what I thought. But then they can write the sight words with the water on the ground. Then they can practice reading them. It's a different way to write them instead of pencil and paper or markers.
Use paintbrushes too, and then the water just evaporates.
Mm-hmm. So they really, really like paintbrushes. I know my friends had a phenomenal time getting their hands painted for our Mother's Day activity just the other week. So just that paintbrush activity, I'm sure would be kind of fun. And then they can do it on the ground, and then it would wash right off, and it would just be water, kind of like magic. And then the sight word balloon toss. So you can just kind of go wherever on the ground, the sidewalk, your driveway, it doesn't really matter, and draw the sight words inside circles. And then they can kind of toss the water balloon to the sight word and see if they can. I would think you'd have to read it first before you throw it, because if you throw it and you make it, you're not going to see the word no more. But, maybe they can stand and they have to read the word, then try to toss it to that word and see if they can actually land on that one. So they're still kind of engaged. They're practicing the sight words. You could even do, like, let's say if they're in kindergarten, do the kindergarten sight words, and then as you progress, you start throwing in, like, a couple first grade words, just to kind of get them ready, like, okay, you're going to start learning these words, just maybe a few. You don't want to overwhelm them, because there's already a lot of kindergarten. A little too many for my liking, but that's even with it. The math hack seems to be a little bit more fun for outdoor activities. I really like the first picture where you have written numbers in random order, and then you have drawn dice, and their job is to match them. So this kind of helps them. I believe the fancy word is subsidizing.
Yes.
So to be able to look at that dice and immediately know that's a 6, that's a 5, that's a 2. So they might not be there yet. They might have to count the dots in the squares, but then they have the fun activity to draw the line from the dice to the number. This is actually really, really good to practice, because I know my friends are not the greatest at this matching type activity, because I find the lines just go around the whole paper. And then over here, and I'm like, wait, and there's a direct, path right here, guys. You don't have to go all the way around. And then they're like, well, my line's crossed. How do you know that it's correct? I know. I promise. Just it's okay. Just practice that. Like, it's all right. I know. I'll know. Number 2, you can put a number line down. We use number lines a lot in school. We were just using it today to practice one more and one less for different numbers, but then that can help them practice counting, put it in order. They could skip. You can put it in different orders and have them kind of jump around and get to different numbers. They have, with the balloons, addition facts. So there is a big jump, I feel like, between the end of kindergarten and then the end of first grade. I know that's a whole year, but in kindergarten, we're adding and subtracting within 5, and first grade is to 20. It's like this. I don't know why you go from 15 additional numbers. I don't know, but you can put them on balloons, and they have to solve the problem, and then they can pop it, or you have to throw it to someone. You can play hot potato. Whoever gets it last has to solve the problem, or you have to make it explode. Whatever you want to do. There is obviously that has division. If you're there, by all means. They can kind of go hopscotch and jump and solve the different math problems as they move within their hopscotch. So again, that's just a matter of drawing a path, putting different problems. It could be putting shapes in there. Maybe you notice that they have a struggle recognizing the shapes. You can jump to different shapes. Maybe it's just numbers. Maybe you're just trying to practice numbers. Maybe it's just 50 and above. Only do 50 and above. That's fine too. Whatever you and your child are comfortable with. And then the last one is to simply solve some math problems outside. And you can put all the math problems using chalk all over the ground. And I believe he's recording it on a piece of paper to kind of show what the answer was. But there's all sorts of fun stuff to just go outside and do the fun stuff. Because if they're outside, they're happy. That's what I've noticed. If I take my kindergartners outside, they're happy. If you want a little bit more structure compared to like the outdoor activities, there are summer workbooks that you can purchase. I'm sure Amazon has them. I've seen the dollar section at Target have some like this. I'm sure the dollar store has them. These are 2 really good ones. I want to say previously we passed out summer bridge activities. I think it was it just pre-K to K and K to 1? It was something along those lines. But I know that one's a really good one. But then there's Scholastic, which I love Scholastic. So both of these would be good, and then they're kind of that structure. They kind of mimic school a little bit more. So maybe like you buy one and then you do one activity a week and then do the fun stuff. So then they kind of still feel like they're doing school a little bit.
I just be careful with some of these books because remember we do have that learning loss, so we are a little bit behind as to where some of these books think we should be. So even if they just finished first grade and they're working in that kindergarten book, it's okay. Like give them confidence. You don't want to make them frustrated while they're working on it. But if they're like flying through the pages, then it would be time to up it. But just preview it, and even if you buy it ahead of time, and hey, bring it to the teacher. Is this a good level book for them? Is this something that you guys have taught, worked on? Because you don't want them sitting there frustrated and I'm not doing this. I hate this. It's not working, and it's too hard. And so even if you're going to the grade below, they're still practicing those letters. They're still practicing those skills. And a lot of these books will give reading and math activities as well, and it'll break it down by week. But definitely preview it, go through some of the pages, see what it's about. Don't let that grade on the top determine whether you buy it or not, but take it into consideration. You might need to go to a grade below.
And that's good. That's okay. Because you don't want them to hit that frustration level because they're going to break down. They're done. I'm not doing it no more. I had a friend today. He was like, nope, I cannot. I'm like, all right, we're done. We're done practicing. Go take a breather. Let's all take a brain break. Let's do something different. Get away from that worksheet. There's no need for it. Like you don't want to frustrate them because they will. Their little brain most likely was like, I want to be perfect and I want to do everything and it needs to be right. And once they hit that block, they're like, oh, nope, no more. Guys, grab the crayons. I'm done. Grab them. I don't want.
Remember, we're sending all of those books home from school. But even the books that we sent home from school, we haven't covered all of those topics. So just because we've sent it home does not mean that they know everything in this book. So,
Correct. I
take that into account.
For our math books, there's volume 1 and 2. Technically, per the curriculum, they are supplements. So they cover a lot of things, and we cover a lot of not things in that book. So they're very different. They were just there as a resource. So it might be completely empty and you're getting a blank book, and we might not have covered that topic. We might not have gone into depth in that topic. So take them with a grain of salt. I know we're going to, kindergarten, I think we're sending home like math books. There might be so we can send home anymore. There's a science book that can go home. That might be hit or miss if at time you got to it, how depth it was, whether you smushed 3 lessons in one day. You never know.
They have all that little reading.
Oh, the reading and the writing ones. There's a lot that'll come home that you can already use because we're going to give it to you. That most likely is empty. Because a lot of times we've been using computers or we just put in our journals and not necessarily using the supplemental piece. But how can you help right now? It's obviously, unfortunately, the teachers are not off duty yet. So, what can we do now? Keep it simple. Work together on the assignments. Maybe you get for kindergarten at Deerfield, we give a homework calendar. So it's just one simple activity a day. They do it in the journal. We check it on Fridays. You can play catch up. You can do it on Thursday. You can do it on Monday. It doesn't matter. So just work together on the activities that go home. Continue to practice reading together. Do the math facts, even if it's just practicing the shapes, practicing counting. Count how many dinosaurs you have. Count how many chips you want to eat today. Whatever you want to do, practice, but do it together. Play the games. I know we went home with a lot of reading games, a lot of math games, different ideas. Use them. They will help them. And it's okay to be flexible. Okay? If they're done, don't push it no more. Switch to a different activity. Maybe ask, what would you like to do instead? How can we fix this? What's the problem? Get them to talk about it. Maybe they can tell you this was too hard. So then you can dial it back. So maybe if you were working on 2 digits, let's dial it back and do 1 digit. If the sight words are too long, let's cut it back. Let's only do 3-letter sight words. You can make it easier for them so they're less frustrated. Does that make sense? The sun is blinding.
I know.
And the hat is not helping. So, one of the goals. And that's what we're going to do when we go back to the table. So you're going to kind of say, we will read for 20 minutes every night. Maybe that's your goal. Maybe it's, we're going to read for 20 minutes on Tuesdays. Maybe Tuesdays are the only day that's free. We're going to dedicate 20 minutes a Tuesday to reading. We will write during the summer. Maybe you're going to write a letter to the teacher. Maybe you're going to write a letter to grandma who lives out of state. I believe, I Googled it before, you can send letters like Disney and they might send something back. You can write a letter to Disney, write to a Disney character, whether it gets mailed or not. Up to you. We'll practice our comprehension. This is really important. So every time you read, have a discussion about what it is they just read. You know, see how many pieces of that story that they can recall. You know, is it just the beginning that they remember? Did they only remember the end and they totally forgot everything else? That kind of shows you, I need to practice that. Ask more in-depth questions. Well, what was the character? What was the setting? Instead of, what did you just read? You can ask them more engaging questions that'll kind of maybe pull out that information a little bit better.
Our question tonight, would you like to go to school long ago? Nope, across the board. And I said, well, why not? Well, there's no internet. Okay, guys. Great. So when the internet goes out at school, I have a very hard time.
Struggle. But though I've had like one or two that are like, yeah, I want to go back then because there's horses. You're sold on the horses? By all means, let's go. Let's go try to ride a horse. All right, you do that. I'm not going to do that. But you can continue to practice math facts for 10 minutes. I know that's what we put on our homework calendars is 20 minutes of reading, 10 minutes of math facts. Like I said, even if it's just one day, you don't have to do it every day. But as long as you're doing something, they're more than likely to retain it for the fall. Because if you just, June 23rd hits, and you shove all those books over there, and you don't pull them back until, I don't know what the first day of school is, I don't want to think about
Well,
it.
we go back August 19th.
Yeah, that's not them though. But okay, so the end of August, right? You don't pull them back then. They've lost almost 2 months to retain that information. It's gone. It's done. They're gonna be like, what is school? I don't know what this is. Where are you taking me to this building? What is whole pencil? I don't know what that
That's
is.
when they come back and like, my hand hurts. Remember those hand muscle activities
Yes.
or strengthening, even if it's playing with the Play-Doh. Because
Yes.
they'll come back and, just think about that routine. Keep them in the routine so that way when the fall comes, you're still kind of in it. They're still in the routine of practicing. So that way it's not this, I can't play video games all day. Like, they're not going through that withdrawal. Like, I need to play Roblox and
Minecraft. No. We'll do something else.
And I know
instead.
last summer they kept their reading programs online, right? They had
Yes.
iReady available and they had Dreambox available. We haven't gotten word on that if it will continue throughout the summer. On your agenda for tonight, there is the Prince George's County tutoring through Book Nook that's available. So if you're interested in signing up for that, it's there. But stay tuned for more information if the iReady and Lexia and Dreambox will continue throughout the summer. I know sometimes they put it on pause, but you should hear from the school and the county like if it's going to continue.
I keep your fingers crossed that you can still use Clever because you can find all that stuff in Clever. And a lot of times, you can also access like I have Blink Slick math games or Brain Pop or Go Noodle or other activities that might not necessarily be iReady and Dreambox but are fun. And so if you can still access Clever, you can still access those things. You can still click the teacher and find the things that they linked before.
And they can send us lovely messages.
Oh yes, they can. If they find that part, that's fine. But there's also like Braining Camp. That's got all the shapes and numbers. And my kids will draw these immaculate pictures of Sonic and mountains. And I'm like, where did you get? Oh, it's the paint feature with the shapes and the. Oh, okay. Or ABC Mouse. I know I put ABC Mouse on my Clever page. They love that. They can digital puzzles. So fingers crossed that Clever is still open over the summer. Because there's a lot of resources that I would hope that the teachers put on there they are using now, even if it's just for fun activities, that hopefully you can use over the summer. But there is also Scholastic Summer Reading is almost the same thing. It's all digital. You can join and kind of read different books and activities throughout the summer, and it kind of keeps track. But that would be another option that you can do, and you can do it online and have fun. So something simple. There is a link in there when you click the PowerPoint. It'll take you directly to the website. It says to start April, but you don't have to start April. But it goes all the way through September. They can get different books. They can talk to the characters. All sorts of fun stuff. Does anyone have any questions, comments, a concern? You don't want the school year to ever end? Anything? Yes.
Is there anything with the computers?
Help them get better with computers?
Is there, because I don't know, like my teacher, she's not the same. Like, cause you guys say that y'all go from computers to paper to, you know what I mean? So, like, is there something we should be doing with the computers? Like, because my kids quick to go on the games. But I don't know what y'all do on computers at school, you know what I mean? I don't know if y'all are practicing typing, I don't know.
So there is typing.com, which is one of the apps through Clever. My kids, they use that as like a bonus activity. So I have the really tech class. So when you hear like I talk about tech all the time, my kids do all of their reading, their math, science, social studies, health, like all of their main assignments are on the computer. A lot of the teachers have not migrated to that yet, so they still do a lot of those paper pencil activities.
Yeah, because my teacher doesn't have anything on, because we want yours being hooked up with everything, and then we go to hers, and there's,
Yeah, with Google
There's
Classroom, right?
she didn't even do Google.
I've looked at it, and
It's
I'm
a mess,
sorry.
so I don't know what I'm getting myself into going into next year, you know what I mean? Because they might be like, oh, you should have been working on like this on computers so that they know how to log in and this.
So I just make sure like she knows the login stuff. On Clever, I work on things like grading camp, like just those digital manipulatives. So they have like a 120 chart, they have a number line, they have shapes. Just working with those. Next year we will be transitioning, so we're no longer using Google Classroom next year. We're using a platform called Canvas. I know. But here's the thing: my kids have used Canvas.
Wait, is this another app I have to download? Like,
No, it'll be in Clever. Yeah, it's in Clever, and my kids have used it all year. They came from kindergarten and they used Google Classroom. And they came to me in first grade and we started off from the beginning with Canvas. So Canvas still uses those Google-based assignments. It's just you get to them a little bit differently.
is it easier?
There's hesitation.
Because you have a first grader's own Google setups. And
Yeah,
they're like, well,
so-
you gotta go here to here to there, and we're just like,
It's that same. So like, it all depends on the teacher and how the teacher organizes it. So I have a degree in technology, so I organize mine with all of like our assignments for this week, like at the top, and then I have all of our graded assignments for this quarter, and then I have all of our practice assignments. So it's easy for them to find. I have everything dated and just titles, and so it took them a while to understand like how to find an assignment. But once they got to that, then it was like, okay, we have to click on it, we have to open it bigger, and it's still going to be that Google slide, it's still going to be that Jamboard, it's still going to be all of those things that they've used previously, but they just have to go back and submit it. The nice thing is though, once they submit it, they can still go back and like edit it and access it and things like that, so it's not like locked, gone forever, like Google Classroom. So that's really nice, especially when we like do things that we continuously work on. But it will be a learning curve. So unfortunately, like it all depends, the teacher and what their, technology abilities are. But they still will be using those Google platforms. So they're not going away, but yes, just practice the typing. Pull up. I don't use like the Word. I use a lot of like Google Slides. So you can pull up Google Slides and just put a text box on it, practice typing your name, practice typing a sentence. Because all the other things, like my kids play on it galore. Like Jamboard is our thing. They love Jamboard. They can insert a picture. They can take a picture. We just learned we can download a picture from Raining Camp. We can download our screen and then we can put it on a Jamboard. That was our big thing today. But those are not skills that they're necessarily going to need in second grade. It's just things that they've learned. There's an easier way to do it. So instead of drawing all of my, we were doing base 10. So instead of drawing all of my 10s, drawing all of my 1s, I can go on Raining Camp and I can drag and drop, and then I can download the picture and I can put it on there. So I would say just practice the typing and being able to move things on the screen. But other than that, like, so I don't, like, yes, we're keeping with the technology, but at the same time, like, they're going to be starting in the school year. They're not going to, like, they're going to get that in-classroom instruction from the teacher on how to use these platforms. Like, it's not like Google Classroom where you're kind of just, like, thrown in, here, learn it from home.
See, we were good with kindergarten, and then this year, I feel like we got set back extra again. I
Yeah.
don't think the teacher knew how to use it either. So, yeah, so that's what I'm trying to see, where we can, like, step back up and get back with the technology as students, like, and keep up with the hard copies, like doing the papers and everything else, so.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna transition to eventually all technology.
But I don't think it's all gonna, like, I think there's still gonna be a balance. I don't think it's gonna be completely all time.
We're kind of half and half
Especially
in
with,
my
like,
room. At being in person, we're kind of half and half because, like, for example, our reading block, we will do the whole group activity, and then we will all get them on their independent stuff, and we do that together, and I can pull them and work with them, and then I ready 25 minutes, or ABC Math 25 minutes. So they're using that device, like we have iPads. They're using them every day, so we kind of flip flop it to make sure. I almost feel like first grade's at a little disadvantage because they go from mine are really tech savvy with that iPad and the scanning the QR code, and they're just kind of moving and clicking the screen. So then they get a Chromebook with a keyboard. And I'm like, wait a minute, we didn't do that. And we weren't practicing the click on the screen. We were just
touchpad.
Correct. So if they can maneuver that computer and just kind of understand how that computer works and how to access like a website and
She
things,
can maneuver it like YouTube and all the other games.
that can easily be applied to a second grade
But
class.
it's the other parts that when they're like trying to get to do the math on it, like how to hit those shifts with the plus and stuff like that. I didn't know if we had to like.
Yeah, those would be great
Yep.
things to.
Just kind of overall computer stuff, how to use that, that's going to be beneficial.
And plugging in a mouse to the Chromebook,
Please do.
please. It helps them so much. I think about half of my class has a mouse now. Just it's so much easier to drag and click. Yes.
A little different. So I have my daughter's in first grade, and she's below the level in reading. She's been in some very little class. She should have done about 4 times so all the rest of her grades after reading is still below level. Then I have 2 twins who are in third grade, but one of them is like I would say middle to third grade in reading, and then one is just below level. So they've all done so good. I've exhausted tutoring. I think that when we try to read together, with the 3 of them being on all different reading levels, it's like not working. So I don't know if you have any strategies to work with that. Any thoughts on that? Like
Sounds like a classroom.
Right,
They're
yeah.
all like in my class. I've got the ones that are still,
Learning
low,
the
and I've got
alphabet.
the ones that are high. As for
I would alternate what books you read. Maybe like find a topic that kind of sits well with them, and then maybe so we're gonna reach the first grader with that picture book, but I'm gonna make sure it's a subject or a topic that everybody likes. So they're all gonna pay attention. They're all gonna pick up, and then we're gonna accommodate the third grader at their level. So maybe it's a little longer, maybe not quite a chapter book, but something similar. But it's going to be a topic that the first grader likes. And they're all still kind of engaged, but then you're alternating kind of to meet their needs. And then you can do the same thing with like homework. I think of like my classroom for writing. I'll have ones that can write a sentence by themselves. I'll have ones where I can give them part of the sentence and they just have to fill it in. Fill in like one word, fill in a sight word. Then maybe some of them just need that sentence starter and they can finish. They're all writing, they're all doing a sentence, it's all the same topic, but I gave this one free range. I gave this one only one word to figure out, and this one has to fill in like 3 words. So it's the same activity, but they're all doing something a little bit different to finish the activity. You can kind of customize the activities a little bit.
And I told a third grader, make your own videos. Like if they have access to that Chromebook or, an old phone or something, make a video for your siblings to listen to one of their favorite books. So they have that audio recording, they have that connection. It's their sibling, they're practicing reading. It might be an easier book, but they're still, working on those skills. And then the younger ones, all right, we'll make a video for, your older one, hold up the sight word. You don't know the sight word, just, make a video holding them up for, getting them involved. Oh yes,
They pretend YouTube stars.
yeah.
Just in your camera roll, but they're YouTube stars to you on your phone. Look, you look at your beautiful video that's right here for everyone to see. For me.
Yeah, it was 2 summers ago. We did through Class Dojo. Every week we would post. We went with a theme. So on Mondays we would post a reading activity with the theme, and then on Wednesdays we would post a math activity that went with it. But we would always have a book that we read, and so some of the kids would come in, and because I posted all summer, they thought they were in my class, and I'm like, oh no, there's 4 classes. Sorry to share, but they're like, well, we want the YouTube teacher. And I'm like, yeah, I'm YouTube famous. You can be YouTube famous when you learn how to read and get your parent permission. But yes, they want the YouTube famous teacher. So we are on YouTube, reading different books and things. So, all right, are we ready to go plan?
Yes.
All right.
All right,
Move back to where you
So
were
you have those
sitting.
lovely blue backpacks.
We'll go back to
All
the
the fun
calendar.
activities. All right. I guess we need lights.
Yeah, probably for this. But I was gonna pull up if anyone wanted to come up and look at it.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Oh,
She's there. Venga, señora. Okay.
Yep. I recognize her face.
yeah. Dr. Rivera. I think the most known is the only one that's free through the county. Now that's where it's not no person, but that's offered to everyone. Yes, we're planning. Oh, you can ask questions. So, like Dr. Harder.
Dr. Hart. He has a PhD in
and there's 31 days in July. You can take a calendar.
Cheater. That one is
You know, July. I'll get.
So that means August 1st is on a Monday, and there's 31 days. Yes, but the calendar that we have is July. Yes, starts on Friday.
Did you move?
And August starts on Monday. So those are some of the activities. I'd say think of at least 2 activities a week to start with, and then you can just go home and talk to your child. What do you want to do this summer? And then write it on the calendar. So that way they have some input and it's not just something that you guys are doing this. But start with trying to put 2 activities in and look at your bags, see kind of ones that we've given you, get creative, talk to each other. Hey, do this, or we've done that.
Sources, I never got the Zoom link. The other one says, I didn't receive the feedback or the material. Los materiales de la reunión pasada. Okay, so sorry, this one didn't receive the email, but she didn't receive also the material.
Look at the background.
Did they put your email already? Okay. Oh, really? For the can? Right where? Para los papás, para los papás que no recibieron el enlace de Zoom o los materiales, ya sea de esta reunión o de la reunión pasada, por favor pongan sus correos electrónicos para que así la señora Danielle vuelva a mandar electrónicamente todos los materiales de esa reunión y de la reunión pasada. Sí, mil disculpas por no haber recibido el enlace de Zoom. Okay, pero sí, pongan su dirección electrónica, su dirección electrónica con nombre, pero ya tenemos aquí para los nombres, pero sí, el correo electrónico para que así le podamos mandar los materiales. Okay, hopefully they got it. Well, who sent this?
I started teaching I do, and I should. How's it going? I pick some activities. Anybody put chalk on the calendar? Water balloons. Be brave. Go water balloons. They're so much fun. Right. Oh, Like 2 more minutes on our calendars. Ooh, you're already practicing. Math facts on one side, papers on the other side.
Oh, I said it was. And now
Yo estaba en una forma como verde. Yo quiero rescatar, estaba
Did everybody see the